All right. I never did make it back to Mrs. Moxie's class for math drills like I wanted to, and when school was out, I walked home. That's when I found out I left my key on the bulletin board, so I just lay down flat on the porch to hide from the bad kids and waited again for my mom. I was thinking about her all afternoon because of something I wanted to ask her. When she turned the corner, I ran up to her and I tugged her arm. Can I ask you a question? 1 minute, she said, and she gave me a purse to hold on to. We went inside, and she undressed and hung her dirty work clothes that smelled like bleach on the back of the bedroom door and put on a bathrobe. And all the time I just saying, can I ask you now? Can I? Can I? Can I ask you now? Can I? Just let me wind down for a moment while you tell me where your key is, she said. I told her about the bulletin board, and as I followed her to the kitchen and watched as she fixed herself a drink. She sat down at the breakfast table and opened the newspaper and hid her face behind the huge pages as if she were reading the wings of a giant butterfly. Now? Count to 100 first, she said. I was counting the numbers off as if I was running down a huge flight of stairs and staring at the color photos of a car crash in front of the newspaper. Now? I asked after I counted to 100. Okay, fire away. Did I eat paint chips when I was a baby? No, just potato chips, she said, and she turned the page. Well, did I ever fall on my head, I asked. Mostly your butt, she said. Did you drink a lot when you were pregnant with me? She paused. I could tell the fun was over. She didn't lower the paper, so I couldn't see her face. No more than usual, she finally said, as if she was far away reading something. What's usual? I asked. I don't know what's usual. You know what? And as I spoke, I could feel my heart just picking up speed, so I closed my eyes and I sat on my hands because sometimes it helps me settle down like I'm in my own little straitjackets. A glass of wine with dinner and amaretto sour after, she said. She said it like she had said it 1,000,000 times already, and she was sick of saying it. And then she began to fight back. She lowered the pages for a moment. Why are you asking? Why? Why? She knew when she asked why, that the millions of little gears in my head just all jammed together. She knew I could never get to the why of anything. I could never get my mind to gather exactly what I wanted to say. I could never find the trail to the bottom of what I meant. There were so many other trails that wandered off along the way, and me with them. We got a new kid today in specials, I said, as she rattled the paper, and my heart climbed higher into my chest. And I heard one of the moms say he was over the fence and long gone from his mom drinking too much when he was the size of a peanut. And he's skinny, and his head's so small, like a kicked round softball, and he can't do nothing. I mean nothing. Like my worst day is better than his best day, ever. Then count your blessings, she said, turning the page, and don't go looking for ways to blame me for your problems. Other people's drink wine and their kids are geniuses. You could have gone either way. I still couldn't see her face, but it was like I could see her voice, and I said, don't push me. Just stop now and turn around before you go too far and you get hurt. And so I buttoned my lip and I just went back to eating the salty nuts of the big bowl of party mix, and then she lowered the paper and I saw 2 small wet spots where she held it across her lap. She was crying, but I didn't know if it was because she drank too much or if it was just the everyday sadness of her life with me. She sniffed and she sniffed as she was pulling something up hand over hand on a rope, as if to pull it all the way back into her eyes and nose. And then she said, why me? Why? I try so hard. I didn't have an answer to that one. But some days, that asking me why is going to wear my brain down so that it's smooth as a boiled egg, and I'll just sit in Miss Howard's big chair all my life like the coma kids, and that word why will float through me from ear to ear like a warm breeze. We have a kid in specials named Kevin Clump. Miss Howard calls him my cute little lump. But not in a kind of mean way. And he doesn't do much but sit there and drool, and then every now and again he jumps up and he pulls the plastic fire alarm. He did it a couple times on the real one in the hallway during the first week of school, so they put a fake fire alarm in the special room, and he could pull that without the whole school having to be emptied out and the fire trucks arriving and the ambulances screaming right behind them. And all the while, Kerwin hopping up and down like he's permanently on a pogo stick saying, I'm bad, I'm bad. No, I'm not like Kerwin. I can have good days. And tired days when I wake up and I'm calm on the inside, like a water when it's not boiling. I just plant my feet on the floor like every kid in America, and I do a sleepy walk to the bathroom, take a nice hot shower, and I wash my hair, and I dry off, and I get dressed, and I eat breakfast, and all the while thinking about what I'd like to do with my day. And then most amazing thing is, after I think about what I'd like to do, like read or see a friend or say something nice to Miss Howard or write a poem, I actually do all that stuff. That is amazing to me. I think, then I do it. This may be how everyone else operates, but this is not how I usually operate. Usually I wake up with a spring popping inside my head like the middle of a pinball game where I'm the ball and I shoot out of bed directly to the kitchen where I ricochet around after food until by chance I snatch some toast off the counter. Then I go slamming off the padded stool tops like they were lighted bumpers and zing up the hall and into the bathroom where I try to brush my teeth. But I brush most of my lips and my chin, and then after I explode out the door across the living room, I caroom off the furniture. My mom grips me and wipes my toothpaste off my face and works a pill down my throat. Then she holds the back of my head and pushes my face into her soft belly and just holds me for a few minutes. And if the meds are working, I begin to settle down real well. And when I pull my face away, I look up at her and she's smiling and stroking my head, and if she is in a good mood, we both start to laugh because it is so funny that I've just gone from being Ricochet Rabbit to Charlie Brown in no time flat. And this makes both of us so happy. I love it when she rescues me like this, when the meds work and when I go to school and I stay in my seat and the kids don't call me Zippy and the teachers pat me on the head at the end of the day and give me gold and blue foil stars and say nice things to me. And later when Mom comes home, I get to tell her how good I've been, and she smiles and smiles, and I get so pumped up I run to mix her an amaretto sour, and she keeps smiling and then calls me her genius, her hyper smart buddy, and we laugh. Chapter 6. Who? My day started out great. All of the 4th and 5th grade classes got to go to the Amish farm for a field trip. There must have been about 100 of us because we filled 2 long orange buses. My morning meds were working and I had a window seat and just loved watching all the cars and houses and fields speeding by. And when Miss Maxie was busy with other kids, I sat up on my knees and I stuck my head out the top window and felt the breeze sweep past me so fast and hard it made everything in my head stand still. That was the best part of my day right there, sticking my head out the window like a dog. And when we got off the bus, Miss Maxie and Miss Deebs and 2 other teachers and a gang of moms had us all lined up, and Miss Maxie gave everyone the lecture about respecting differences in other cultures, so no pointing and snickering or unpleasant comments, or you sit on the bus. You got that? We did, or we didn't, but nobody knew which just yet. Once that was out of the way, we marched down the front steps to the farmhouse as if we were in the line of ants dressed up in clothes. Stop! Hollered Miss Deebs as we reached the steps. When she shouted stop, she meant it because she had extra short hair and a big head on a really wide body. There was no getting around. Every time her head moved left or right, I thought it was going to roll down her sloping shoulders like a boulder rolling down a hill. 2 clean-looking Amish girls in long blue dresses and starched white aprons came up and said, "Welcome. The Amish have been in Lancaster County since the 1700s. We are a people who keep alive the traditions of the past. Please follow us inside and see our plan and simple way of life, our crafts and our cooking." For a moment, I thought how it would have been funny if kids took a field trip to my house when me and my grandma were living. We'd step out on the front door and say, "Welcome. Our place looks like a tornado just hit. Run around inside like we do and have a blast." The Amish girls led us across the porch, which had a line of rocking chairs. So while I was waiting my turn to get inside, I ran from chair to chair, giving each one a good push as if a family of ghosts were rocking, until one of the moms gave me a look and pointed to the end of the line, which meant I'd already lost my place. Finally, I stepped through the front door in the large room, and on one side there were a bunch of old ladies with handkerchief hats on their heads. They were huddled together like a circle of mushrooms after a rainstorm, and hands sewing a large quilt with huge sunflower stars in the middle. In the next room, more ladies were hooking rugs and doing needlepoint, and even though the moms were all oohing and ahhing as if they were watching fireworks, I started not to listen to any of it because I smelled something really good and sweet coming down the hall, and after just one whiff of that, the smell, I couldn't pay close attention to anything else. We passed a few more rooms, and I didn't care if the Amish were doing card tricks or shaving their beards off. My eyes watered over that smell, and it had me staggering like a zombie. After a lot of very polite and very boring questions and answers about Amish life, one of the Amish girls led us the rest of the way down the hall into a huge kitchen. Then the sweet smell was so powerful, I felt my nose swelling up, just getting bigger and bigger, and I had to touch it with both hands to make sure it wasn't like Pinocchio's. It was still the same old size, but that smell was so overwhelming I couldn't get enough, and I just had to keep gulping down huge breaths as if I could eat the air. Every product made in this typical Amish kitchen is based on what nature provides, said one of the girls. We make butter and cheese, bread and biscuits, jams, jellies, but we are especially famous for our molasses shoe fly pie. At first, I didn't think I'd heard it right. A pie made out of shoes and flies and molasses? I said to Seth. I bet it's real good, he said. You should ask for some with extra flies. Yeah, I said. I was thinking about that pie so much I didn't hear another word the girl said about the Amish cooking secrets. The thought of a pie made out of shoes and flies was amazing to me. And really, I didn't care if it was made out of pies, made their pies out of sweat socks and wigworms. As long as it turned out this sweet smelling, I'd eat them. Even as I stood there, the sweetness was making me dizzy. I experimented and closed my eyes, and I took a deep breath. And I had to open my eyes quickly as I stumbled into Seth, and he gave me a shove back and called me a moron. By the time I pulled myself together, Miss Deebs was saying, Okay, everyone, line up for a little piece of shoe fly pie before we go to the garden, and later to the barn. All I could think about was the shoes and the flies as I stood in line, and from where I was in the back, I didn't see any kids spit it out, and it must have been good. I dropped down on my knees to see what kind of shoes the Amish girls were wearing. They may have had some special shoe tradition I didn't know about. Maybe their shoes were made out of licorice or rock candy, but their dresses were so long I couldn't see their shoes, and a mom gave me a stern look and yanked me up by the back of my shirt as if I was trying to peek up their dresses. Mind your manners, young man, the mom said with her eyebrows raised. I'm just doing research, I shot back. When it was close to my turn, Miss Maxie called me to one side and whispered, That pie is not good for you, Joey. It's got too much sugar in it, so it's better you just stick with fruit. She must have seen the hurt look on my face, because I couldn't hide it. It felt like my whole face turned into a crumpled piece of paper, and then she reached forward and handed me a small white napkin with an apple slice on it. And it had already turned brown from the edges. It has cinnamon on it, she said. It's very good. I don't want this, I replied. I want the shoe fly pie. Don't make an issue out of it, she said firmly. We're just doing what's best for you. And she didn't want to talk about it anymore because the other kids were beginning to bunch up at the back door and stare at us. Now move along, she said to the kids. If you've already got your pie, go over to the pumpkin patch and And then she started talking, like she was saying something wrong in front of me, as if she wanted to spell it out like adults do when they think they want to keep a secret from kids who can't spell. I took the apple slice and I put it in my back pocket. I kept wondering why she didn't finish telling me about the carving. It didn't take long to find out. A few minutes later, we were all out in the pumpkin patch with our baby pumpkins, and we were allowed to pick off vines. The Amish girls were handing out wood-handled carving tools, and all the kids were sitting at picnic tables surrounded by their moms. I ran up to the Amish girl and got my tool, but Miss Maxie was right behind me. Joey, you can't have that knife. It's dangerous. I looked at the knife. The blade was real stubby, about an inch long, and it wasn't even that sharp. It was more like safety scissors. It's not dangerous, I said. Besides, my mom lets me slice bread and stuff. We just don't want you to hurt yourself, she said calmly. I want to carve one too. You can draw on one now, she suggested, and held out a black marker, and we'll carve it later, I promise. I want to do what everyone else is, I said, and held the knife behind my back. Later, said Miss Moxie. All the moms are busy helping other kids. Now, I shouted, and my fist balled up, and I could feel a certain injury run through me like nothing in the world was going to keep me from doing what I wanted. Give me that knife, she ordered, and held out her hand. No, I said, and stepped back, and then threw it as far as I could into the pumpkin patch. And we're going to stop there for today.